Hi, everybody. Martin Root with Project Heaven on Earth. I'm laughing because my guest and I were just fooling around before we went on. My guest today is a dear friend, Dr. Ivan Misner, who is the founder and chief visionary officer of BNI, Business Network International. He started this in 1985. He got the first degree that he knows of, a PhD in networking, not computer networking, but business networking. No one had ever done that before. Ivan came along and saw the huge potential of referrals and networking. And he has now, BNI now has over 10,000 chapters worldwide, over 10,000. It's a stunning number, huge accomplishment. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. And his new book is called Infinite Giving. When I saw the title, it just blew me away. I've certainly heard about giving, but I never heard about infinite giving. So I thought we've got to have him on Project Heaven on Earth. So welcome, Ivan.
Well, thank you, Martin. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here. You've made a big difference in my life, and I'm happy to do this. Just for complete transparency, my dissertation was on business networking. My degree was in a focus on organizational behavior and leadership. But that was probably the first dissertation, according to my professors, ever done on business networking.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. The basis of BNI, which I've known about for years, is something that you called giver's gain.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Why is that the philosophy? Why? Because when I think of business, the corrupt version of business is it's all about getting. And you've taken that and flipped it 180 degrees, and you talk about giver's gain. Tell us why giver's gain.
Well, listen, giver's gain to me is more than a phrase. It's a way of living one's life. It's a perspective to view and interact with the world. It's an attitude, not an expectation. And when it's applied properly, it will change your life. And when it changes enough lives, it'll change the world. And it'll change the world because it's all based on helping other people achieve what they want, at the same time having them do the same for you, so that it really is a great example of people helping one another.
But the helping is not, you mentioned in the book, it's not transactional. It's not what can I get from you. It's giving, and more than that. And that's why this book so impressed me, because I know about giver's gain from you, but now you're talking about infinite giving. And when I saw that title, I went, what? It's remarkable. Why infinite giving?
Well, so the way we kind of define infinite giving versus giver's gain is that there are 7 principles of giver's gain, which create infinite giving. And if you follow these 7 principles, then you are practicing the concept of infinite giving through giver's gain. And those principles include things like, who do you surround yourself with? Who are the people that which is really right out of the book that I know that Stuart Emery and I did, called Who's in Your Room? Yes. The quality of your life is highly dependent on the people in your life. And so it's very important that you surround yourself with the right people. And it's about giving without expectation. Just like you said, it's not transactional. That infinite giving is about building relationships with people, not transactional relationships, but truly relational types of relationships. I would equate it to like a coin-operated networking. If you put the coin in, give me the candy, versus let's build a relationship and we help each other. And so those are a couple of the key factors in building a relationship based on infinite giving.
You say, and I want to quote this exactly, give more than expected and give what you can afford. And then you do this analogy, which I loved. Give from the saucer, not from the cup. Explain that.
Yeah, I'm happy to. And our mutual friend, Lisa Nichols, gave me that phrase. And it's, I think, incredibly powerful. You do want to give more than expected. You want to be able to under promise and over deliver whenever possible. But at the same time, you can't give more than you have, more than you can give freely. And so I love the concept of giving from your saucer and not your cup. And as you become more successful, your cup overflows. And as it overflows, you need to give from that saucer. And it may not be money. When I was a young man, Martin, I didn't have any money, but I gave time. And that's what I had. I had more time than money. And so the overflow was contributing my time. Even early when I had no money, I was a big brother. And so I would give my time in that way. And as I became more successful, I was able to be on boards and give money and give time through the boards, but a little less time and a lot more money. In either case, it's from your saucer. It's from your overflow. And if you can give from your overflow, then it's making a difference in people's lives.
One of the other things you said in terms of, to just expand that, give time, give money, give attention, but then you say, give your belief in others to them. I love that phrase. Talk to me about that.
I think we can't motivate people. I've learned that many, many years ago, that only people can motivate themselves, but we can inspire them in some way to motivate themselves. And the way we do that is to let them know we believe in them. I remember, I've never told this story anywhere in any interview I've ever done. But the way you worded the question made me think of this situation where my son was asking me for help on something. And this was probably 10 years ago. And he wanted my advice on the direction he was going to go in his life. And so I was giving him lots of very transactional advice. Men tend to be very transactional. And so I'm giving a lot of, well, try this, do that, do this. And no, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. And Martin, I tried so many different things and none of that resonated with him. And then I said, I don't know the answer, but I believe in you. Whew. I think you will be able to figure it out because I'm not figuring it out, but I think you can figure this out. And he looked at me and he said, that's it, Dad. Thank you.
I've got tears in my eyes just from you saying that. But what an powerful thing. I sometimes, a lot of times say, I'm proud of you, but I believe in you. It's deeper. It goes right to this. I mean, it's like saying, I see your soul and I know what it's capable of.
And in that case, it was like I didn't have any solution that worked in his mind, but it didn't matter because I did. I, in fact, believed in him. I had no other answer. I was left with nothing other than that, which in fact was probably the thing I should have led with.
I'm just going to say, what an amazing thing, to strip away all the other stuff that doesn't make any difference and go to the heart and soul of the issue, which is, I believe in you. Fabulous. You say, once you've built a meaningful relationship, you've earned the right to ask. Then you say, which blew me away, it's your responsibility to ask.
Yes, but the key here is once you've built the relationship.
And how do I know that? How do I know the relationship is built?
Well, okay, so a lot of what I talk about, as a matter of fact, the foundation of what I teach in networking is called the VCP process: visibility, credibility, profitability. You must first be visible. People have to know who you are and what you do, but then you have to establish credibility. People have to know who you are. They have to know what you do. They have to know you're good at it. And only then can you get to profitability, where people know who you are, they know what you do, they know you're good at it, and they're willing to help you. They're willing to refer you. They're willing to do business with you. What happens in networking is that people treat it as a face-to-face cold calling opportunity. Hi, Martin, my name's Ivan. Let's do business. And they go straight to, they jump over visibility. They jump over credibility. They want to get right to profitability. By the way, in one of my books, Martin, we call this premature solicitation. You don't want to say fast 3 times. It'll get you in a lot of trouble.
It's a brilliant term. It is. Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, we've all been guilty of it. I was certainly guilty of it early in my days in learning how to do business. I discovered this along the way. A number of years ago, I did a big keynote in London There were 900 people in the audience. And I was doing the keynote. It was an all-day event. And I asked, I don't know what possessed me, but I saw a lot of face-to-face cold calling happening. And I said, how many of you are here today hoping to, maybe just possibly sell something? Martin, 900 people raised their hands.
Yes.
I said, okay, great. How many of you are here today hoping to possibly buy something?
Zero.
Raise their hands. Not one single person.
Brilliant.
What I call the networking disconnect. People show up wanting to sell, but nobody's there to buy. So why go to networking events? You go to work your way through the VCP process. You go to get to visibility with people who don't know you, to get to credibility with people who know you, but they don't know you well, and to maintain profitability with the people who know you well and are referring you. That's why you go to networking events. Networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. And if you go to networking events to hunt, you're not going to do well. And this is all part of the concept of infinite giving.
I love the analogy. It's a brilliant analogy, farming versus hunting. I want to flip the whole conversation 180, Ivan, and I want to talk. So we've been talking about giving, and infinite giving and giving from the saucer. And I love all that. What about the flip? What about receiving?
What I find interesting is that some people have a hard time asking for help and receiving help. And I think that's a huge mistake, because when you've built a meaningful relationship with someone else, you've earned the right to ask. You've earned the right to ask. We have a mutual friend, Alex Mandosian, who many years ago, when I just first started to get to know him, was asking me, he reached out to me and he had a suggestion for something for me to do. And I thought he was about to pitch me, Martin. And I've told him this. I thought he was about to pitch me for something. And I was telling him, well, Alex, I've got a budget in advance. I'm not ready to take a project. He said, no. I want to test this out. And I'd like you to would you be a guinea pig? Would you test this for me? I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I did it. And then a couple months later, he had another idea and another idea and another idea. And he did this for a year, Martin, just pouring into me. And throughout the time, I was like, is there anything I can do for you? No, I'm good. After about a year, he called me one day and he said, Ivan, I have a favor to ask. And I said, Alex, the answer is yes. What is it that I'll be doing for you? And he said, you don't even know what it is. I said, doesn't really matter. You've been doing nothing but pouring into me for a year. I can't imagine you're going to ask me for anything I'm not willing to do. So what is it that I'll be doing? And he told me, and I'm like, yeah, that's easy. I'm happy to do that. And I did it. Social capital is about pouring into other people and building. It's like financial capital. The bank has this crazy idea that you actually have to put money in an account before you write a check. But yet we're constantly trying to write checks on social capital without making any investments.
With nothing in the bank, yes.
Nothing in the bank. And Alex did nothing but invest in the relationship to the point where I was feeling guilty that I wasn't giving back. And that's what we're talking about, is you got to invest in the relationship. And when you do, then you can get back. Now, that doesn't mean, there are some people that are just takers. And being an infinite giver doesn't mean that you're an infinite victim. That at some point you got to recognize whether this person is a giver or a taker. And you need to be working with other people who are givers as well as you. And when you recognize that somebody is not there to also give, then you move on and find other people who are willing to contribute to you.
I've looked both sides of that equation. I give too much and I don't ask for anything from you, or people take too much and it's not in balance. Talk to me about the book kind of ends with the notion of gratitude, which is interesting. If the premise of business is I only get, and you're saying, no, it's givers gain. Yeah. Grateful. Talk about grateful.
Well, listen, gratitude is not new age psychobabble. It's science. There has been a lot of science on the topic of gratitude. Harvard Medical School recently reported that there had been multiple studies showing that people who express gratitude are more optimistic and felt better about themselves. A paper published by the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence concluded that expressing gratitude completes a feeling of connection with others, something that I think is pretty important if you want to build relationships with people. Studies by the Cicero Group that were published in Forbes found that people who are on the receiving end of gratitude, and this is really important, have a 33% increase in their innovation and a 22% increase in their work results.
Wow. Staggering.
Gratitude is not New Age psychobabble. It's science. And you know me, Martin, I'm not real New Agey. I'm a business guy.
I know that.
And this is true. Showing gratitude makes a difference, not only for the person you show gratitude to, but for the individual. And the science shows that as well, that the individual also improves their performance when they show gratitude to others.
So I want to put all this together with a bow on it. And here's how. What you've done, Ivan, is taken the premise of what business is, namely, it's only about me getting, flip that on its ass 180 degrees and say, no, it's about givers. Givers gain. Yeah. Then you take it deeper and go to infinite giving, which I love. Like, how can you infinite give? It's a brilliant question. You have to look at a new kind of source for that giving. We talked about gratitude. There's a bigger picture for me here, which is all of this is changing what business is in the world. And the question I want to end on is, imagine you have a magic wand, and with it, you can have heaven on earth for business.
Yeah.
What's that? What is business operating in a context of heaven on earth?
So I think it means different things to different people, but here's what it means for me. It's about making a difference in other people's lives. We all have people that are in our story. I have people, I could talk to you about stories about how people have made a difference in my life. But the real question is not who's in my story, but whose story are we in? Whose life have we made a difference in? To me, that's the beauty of business. Business can be noble. Business can make a difference in other people's lives. And let me give you an adaptation of a quote by Jean-Paul Sartre that I absolutely love. We all die too soon or too late, and yet our life is complete at that moment, with a line drawn neatly under it, ready for the summing up. We are our deeds in life and little more. I believe that heaven on earth for business is the deeds we do for others, how we change other people's lives. And if we can make a difference in other people's lives in business, then we're making a difference in business. And that is heaven on earth.
Brilliant, brilliant. For me, to take that one step even farther, that business is the temporal power in the world today.
Yeah.
And if we can switch the temporal power in the world, we impact the entire world, which is exactly what you're saying and what you're doing. And I think you are a living example, just the way I've seen you treat me, see the way you treat people around you. You are a living example of infinite giving.
Well, Martin, thank you. And I want to publicly thank you for helping me create the vision statement that we have for BNI, which is changing the way the world does business. And that was, we came up with that based on a conversation at a TLC meeting where you helped guide me into the direction of coming up with that phrase. And I think that's really important because I do believe that BNI is changing the way the world does business, and you helped me create that vision statement, and I appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much, Ivan. The book, Infinite Giving, is available on Amazon. Buy it. I'm not a big reader. I need to admit that. I devoured this book, devoured it. It's brilliant. Thank you, Ivan, so much.
Thank you, Martin. And we're coming up with an Audible version pretty soon.
Looking forward. Thanks.